Hey everyone, welcome to Comic Essay. My name is Shaun, and today we're going to be looking at Doomsday Clock issue 8? Issue 8. So let's just jump into it. So, as we left off before, Ozymandias basically, we're picking up now with Ozymandias actually in the Oval Office, which I want to actually talk about at the end of this video. But where we left off before was basically after the conversation with Dr. Manhattan, Ozymandias comes up with he comes up with a plan basically to save the world, save his world where he comes from and the world where he currently is in. And we also leave off with Rorschach basically sending a mail to Lois Lane. I believe it's Rorschach sending a mail to Lois Lane, and he basically discards the Rorschach mantle. He throws away his mask, and we realize actually that the mail that has been sent to Lois Lane is a mail of the Justice Society of America. Now, obviously, the Justice Society of America doesn't exist yet because they've been wiped clean by Dr. Manhattan. Obviously, we know this from the previous issues of Alan Scott's Green Lantern being pushed away, Johnny Thunder and so on, not getting his lantern, so he never became Johnny Thunder at the end of the day. So that's currently where we're sitting. And now where the story picks up is where Lois Lane and Clark Kent are basically at work. We have pretty cool exchanges of conversation there. And they're basically watching the news of Firestorm. He's basically in combat in Russia with the Russian metahumans like Pulsar and the rest of them. Now he's there for a reason because he believes like the Russians have been spreading rumors about him being part of the whole Superman theory, where he goes there to confront them. In the whole basically like in this whole fight, right? Now remember, the Superman theory is about the Americans actually manufacturing metahumans, all right? And this gets explained later, but since like the whole ceasefire of two powerful nations like Russia and America saying like we're not going to be building nuclear arms anymore, and they've basically stopped arming themselves, the Russians basically feel the Americans have actually gone ahead and decided to make nuclear weapons, like weapons of mass destruction, that creating them in such a way that they hide in plain sight, and they say this is in the form of metahumans. As Firestorm is in this conflict, he's basically flung to the ground by the Russian metahumans, and the Russian public actually swarm on him. Now, in a panic and in a frantic panic, he basically explodes, not nuclear, but he actually turns everyone to glass. Now, this is obviously due to his power to manipulate atoms and transmutate elements. Now, as soon as this happens on the news, everyone obviously thinks Firestorm is a murderer, and Superman rushes off, right? He rushes off to Kahndaq. Now, believing that Firestorm has actually fled to Kahndaq. Reason being is because since Black Adam actually is he's the rulership of Kahndaq, alright, and he's basically proclaimed the place as a national meta-human friendly place. Superman goes there obviously to ask, like, listen, is Firestorm here? Black Adam actually says no, Firestorm is not here. But interestingly enough, he actually has in the conversation, Black Adam actually says that there are metahumans here in Kahndaq actually that actually have been part of the Superman theory, and he brings validity to the rumor, which I think is very interesting because no one has actually owned up to it until this point. Now, Superman, obviously, he finds Firestorm, and we realize that Firestorm's power is evolving, because whereas before he's never been able to transmutate organic matter, he's able to do it now, and this was the first instance in which he did it. Now, he gets led. Superman helps to give him some encouragement and so on, and he's able to transmutate like one of these glass boys that he turned. One of these glass people that he turned to glass, so it happens to be a little boy, and he's successful. Now, as we're jumping back, after this whole success, we're back in Russia. Now, the Russian President Putin is basically giving a speech about Firestorm and how they believe this is an attack on Russian soil and that he's a murderer and so on. And Superman, basically, he comes on the scene. Everyone is okay with Superman. Now remember, as I've said in the previous videos, Superman is above the rest. No one regards Superman as an American super, even though the theory is named after him, but no one deems him as like one of these metahumans that's been manufactured by America. He's a global superhero. He can cross into borders whenever he likes, and he tries to start explaining to the public, like, you know what this is not an attack. What Firestorm did was an actual accident, and he gets baited by a question by the Russian president, like, okay, then what's your views on the Superman theory and so on. And in this, he starts actually taking a side. Now, he starts taking a side, saying, like, you know, segregation and so on, it's not right in any kind of way. And Batman is trying to speak to him, like, through an earpiece, because he's saying, like, Superman, don't try to take a side. You shouldn't do it. Which makes sense. It's smart, you know. If Superman is on neutral ground at all times, he shouldn't be seen as biased. Although the world would like to think that Superman agrees with everything that they think. You know, if I thought, like, you know, a criminal had to pay by death, you know, Superman would agree with me because he stands for justice. Superman wouldn't agree with me, and that's the whole point here. And the minute he starts doing that, we can see the public, they get up into a frenzy, and then they're like, we don't agree with this. Now, at the wrong time, Firestorm pitches up with this Russian kid that he just transmutated, and he's trying to explain, like, listen, I can fix this, but no one wants to hear Firestorm out. You know, we see Pulsar, the rest of the guys, everyone starts attacking and shooting at Firestorm. Meantime, bullets are flying all around. They actually almost kill the kid that they just saved. Superman jumps in the way. Bullets are ricocheting, and now people off him, and now people. These glass people that they're all around, they've been transmutated before by Firestorm. You know, they start getting destroyed because the Russian military moves in, and Superman's like, what the fuck is going on here? He like goes and he nudges, but he basically like throws over a tank. The metahumans go after Superman, and in all this commotion, Firestorm is about to go nuclear once again. You know, he's losing control, he's about to go nuclear. Superman rushes off. Obviously everyone's seeing Superman not in a really good light right now. He rushes off to Firestorm. He's trying to calm down Firestorm, and in the final moments, like, Firestorm explodes, but Batman's trying to tell him that's not Firestorm, and we see the explosion is actually a blue light, which is indicating that Dr. Manhattan is responsible for this. And yeah, that's basically where we end off. Now, if you read the little tidbits at the end, I just want to, before we get into those, actually, I just want to explain the first bit where we see Ozymandias. He's busy there in the Oval Office. What he says, yes, he says, like, yes, this one will do nicely. I believe, and this is a theory, this is not until we get issue 9 out, but I believe that he's looking in his plan is, I believe that Firestorm is part of his plan, actually. I believe he actually picked Firestorm here, and he says, I'm actually going to pick Firestorm to do this and this and this and this. And but I mean, we don't know what Ozymandias is basically doing, but I believe that that's basically true. We've seen that previously if you've read the Watchmen comics, Ozymandias has actually been able to portray Dr. Manhattan's power in the form of explosions, and I believe that's very possible for him to do that right now, especially with his cat. What's it called? Bombastus or something, that is also like Dr. Manhattan, only in a cat form, and actually has residual residual like effects, just like Dr. Manhattan. So that's what I think. And not only that, we know that Dr. Manhattan can't necessarily find Ozymandias, and I didn't explain this in the last issue, but the reason why the last issue was called Blind Spot was because this cat is a blind spot for Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan actually cannot see, because the cat is like him, he actually cannot see anything around this cat. He disperses the particles around him, so which is also very interesting. So please go ahead, read the end of the tidbits of this issue. It basically goes through of whether the world is seeing Superman as a villain, if he's a part of the Superman theory and so on, why is he defending the wrong people, and yeah. Otherwise, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, comment. I'm always available on comments, and yeah, you can also like us on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, at Comic Essay one. I do one Patreon. We can also chat on Twitch. I do some streaming. So yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Cheers.